Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to just demonstrate an example of some of the things we've been talking about in the previous few videos. In this example, I've got my cell phone data set and I'm going to try to count how many QAMs I have in this column uplink modulation type. So there's 16-bit QAM, there's also 64-bit QAM. I want to just count them all as just QAM. Over here I'm just going to write number of QAM, right? And maybe I'll put a colon there as well, right? And then fix that with number of QAM. And so in this cell here, I'm going to try to count the number of QAM. Now, one way I might want to do this is first to get the right three characters. So that way 16-bit QAM and 64-bit QAM become, the same thing because they end with the same three characters. So notice if I say equals right and give it that reference, right? And then say the right three characters, PSK. And if I double click this thing, it's supposed to go through the entire data set, except it will stop here because this cell is empty, so it thinks that that's the end of the data set. But that's not true, of course. That's just happens to be empty, and I wanted to do, the entire data set. I think there are like 4,000 rows here. All right, so I'm just going to delete those guys. And I have to handle these blank cells, okay? So I might want to put like the number 0 in there, for example. I'm going to select column K, and I am going to go to Edit, Fill, oh no, excuse me, Find, and then I'm going to click Replace, and I'm going to find blank. So I'm not going to enter anything in Find What. I'm going to keep that as blank, and I'm going to replace it with a 0. And I'm going to do it within the sheet and by rows. That's fine, and we'll replace all. And it says it's replaced 50 instances, and I can close this, and you'll notice now in my blank cells I have 0. Right? And so now Excel knows that the data do not end at this cell. So now if I come back to L2, where I entered right and then this relative reference and the three most right characters, and I double click this, now you see it goes all the way through the 4,000 rows of my data set. And on this one here, I've got a 0. And so that's okay because I'm counting the number of QAM. But importantly here, you'll see now 16-bit QAM is just QAM and 64-bit QAM is still just QAM. Now, after using the right function, I can come over here to where I want my count to be, and I can say equals count if, and what am I going to count? I'm going to count column L, that's the range, comma, and the criteria is if it's equal to QAM, and I'm going to put QAM again in quotes because QAM is a string, close the parentheses and hit enter, and there's my number 163. So I have 163 QAMs in column K. Nice.